morning. Good morning,
morning.
everyone.
Good morning.
So today we are here to talk about sexual harassment in the workplace. My name is Nefertiti. I'm going to be your trainer today, but please call me Titi. Okay? Just a little bit about what we're going to learn today, or what we're going to cover today. We are specifically talking about workplace, but we will cover other areas of sexual harassment as well. It doesn't only happen in the workplace, but why we're talking about the workplace is because the law has developed to extend sexual harassment into the workplace. So we're going to learn the definitions, what the legal frameworks are. We're going to learn how to recognize red flags in the workplace, how to lodge a complaint, and if you are the person receiving the complaint in your workplace, how to receive the complaints. And a little bit about myself. I have been consulting in employment law for over 10 years in various industries like F&B, banking, corporate sectors, and we like talking about sexual harassment because it is the hot topic to talk about now. It's happening everywhere, all across different industries, not just legally, it happens everywhere. So why we're talking about it is because the Malaysian law is now recognizing sexual harassment as a criminal offense. Not just a criminal offense, but also a civil offense. So now if someone does something to you that sexually harasses you, or you feel has sexually harassed you, you can actually take it up to court and you can sue the person for a civil court case, for a civil suit. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Let's get to know you guys. What's your name? Maybe you can introduce yourself.
My name is Divya. What I do is I focus on emotional intelligence and
Okay.
teach that to young people and corporate adults as well.
Okay.
Well, my name is Darshan. I focus a lot more on data analytics. So I deal with a lot of individuals in the industry of data analytics, and all we know is numbers, facts, and figures. We never come across. So this is something that I think would be aligned to what is required in the industry, but not being practiced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I do. So that's why I'm here.
Okay. Here.
Hi, my name is Pritina. I just completed my master's in work psychology, and I'm looking to get into HR, and I feel like this is really important.
Yes. Yes.
I'm Priyanka, and I'm also looking to get into HR. Currently, I'm doing a remote job
Okay.
as an admin. So, yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you for introducing yourself, and nice to get to know all of you. We'll definitely get to know each other better as we go. But yeah, so far, any questions you want to ask me about myself and what I do before we head on into the topic directly? No?
Do you have a lot of cases that you have to deal with sexual harassment?
We actually do. I can give you some real life cases that has happened, especially during this COVID period that just happened. So a lot of people work from home or hybrid work mode that was happening. So there was one particular company that came to us to ask for some advice, where the director of the company or the owner of the company is an elderly man, quite old, maybe like a grandfatherly kind of age. And he's been running this company for many, many, many years now. And every time he comes to work, his go-to move is to say good morning to all of his employees. So his thing to do is he'll go and he'll tap someone on their shoulder or on their back and say good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. And then he'll go into his room. But one day, this one girl is a new girl that joined the company. She's young, and she didn't quite like that was happening, even though he's just tapping her on the back saying good morning. But she felt uncomfortable by him doing all of this. So she actually made a complaint to the HR, and then HR contacted us and asked us how to handle the situation. And we advised them. So we explained to him, even though he is the owner of the company and he didn't do it with any malintention or anything like that. His intention was just to wish everyone good morning, but someone feels uncomfortable, so now he has to stop doing it altogether. So it doesn't really matter what your intention is as the person doing it, but if the person who's receiving it feels threatened or uncomfortable or humiliated, then it's wrong. Then you gotta stop doing it. So sometimes things like maybe you and your friend might have a joke, an inside joke that you guys find funny, but that same joke said outside may not be funny, may offend someone. So it's just picking and choosing how you act appropriately in different situations. So with regards to that guy's case, we had to tell him to stop doing that. He can't continue doing that because one person feels uncomfortable, so you cannot do to everybody. It's just, the rules of society and natural justice has changed because the landscape has also changed now after COVID. So yeah, lots of cases like this have popped up because of the hybrid work mode. We'll go into more of it. I'll tell you more cases that we handle. But yeah, that's me. So before we start, I just want to ask you guys a question. I wanted to ask you guys a question before we start. So we already know we're talking about sexual harassment and we're trying to combat it in the workplace. We want to understand the law so that we can shape the future culture. But sexual harassment, such a wide term. Everyone understands it a different way. Most people understand it to its literal meaning. Something sexual that happens to you, and if you don't like it, is a form of harassment. But I just want you guys okay, you guys have papers in front of you. Maybe write down something that you think is a form of sexual harassment, whether it's an action, a phrase, something that's been done onto someone you've seen, or a movie, anything that you think. Just write it down. Don't have to tell anyone. Don't have to tell me also. Just write it down. Later we'll talk about it. Something that you associate with sexual harassment. 1 minute. Got it?
I got it.
Okay.
So this is for us to just know.
Keep it.
Okay.
Just don't even have to tell me.
Okay.
Just what you think sexual harassment is, and then later, after we actually go through everything, and we see whether that's still your same understanding or not. Okay? Okay, everyone's got something? Okay. So today, like I said, we're going to learn what really sexual harassment is, or rather, what the law has defined sexual harassment to be in Malaysia. And how all of us have now or can now play a part in changing this and making it better for every one of us in the workplace. Like I said earlier, we're only specifically talking about workplace because the act has changed, the law has changed, but sexual harassment can happen anywhere. Can happen in your home, can happen in the public transport, can happen anywhere. Okay, so what we're going to learn today, we're going to learn how to, before that, I just want to let you know we're going to go through a whole day of training. We'll take some breaks in between, so maybe after introducing this a little bit, after an hour or so, we'll take a short morning break, and then we'll come back, and then we'll continue. After another couple of hours, we'll take a break, and then we will head off after. Okay? So yeah, what we're going to learn today, we're going to learn how to identify what sexual harassment is under the Malaysian law. We're going to see what kind of statutory obligations. So there are 3 different statutes in Malaysia that govern this. The first one, we call it the ASHA, Anti-Sexual Harassment Act, the Employment Act, and the Penal Code. So Anti-Sexual Harassment Act is a specific act that the government has created only for sexual harassment. Okay? So not workplace, only anything sexual harassment. Okay? Employment Act has been amended also in 2022 to include sexual harassment in the workplace. So now you have everywhere in the workplace and also a criminal offense. You can be sued in any of these areas. And then we're going to also learn the proper steps if you are the person receiving the complaint or if you are the person wanting to make the complaint. How to do it. What kind of tools that we can use to make sure that our work environment is harassment free, be it sexual harassment, bullying, any kind of harassment. And what can we do as bystanders at the organization? How can we demonstrate that we are going to be accountable for something that happens around us? Even though it's not happening to us, we're helping and doing our part to make sure it doesn't happen. So these are all the things that we're going to learn today. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Am I moving too fast or too slow? Okay, right? Okay. So earlier you guys wrote down something on your paper. Now let's look at this. Just observe the first picture. This is a message to Kevin. Someone told him, okay, shall I read it?
Yeah.
Okay. I won't hesitate if I have any. Okay, good question. Could I ask you a question? Sure. So on your Facebook page, I think there's a picture of you in a bikini. Kevin says. And then she replies, yeah, it was in Italy. That's right, after I quit. Wow. Do you have any idea what I'm gonna say? And then she says, I really don't. And he says, you are smoking hot. And she just says, lol, thank you. Do you think it's like a form of harassment?
Who's Kevin?
Who's Kevin?
Yeah, is Kevin-
Ding, ding, ding.
Is Kevin somebody she's dating?
Even if she was dating him, is it like, does it sound like they're dating? Because he says, so on your Facebook page, I think there's a picture of you in a bikini.
Think.
Yeah.
So clearly not dating.
Okay.
Like testing it a bit lah, seeing how far you can go.
Then, okay, picture number 2. She says, it's not funny to talk about my body. And he says, chill, it's just a joke. Is that harassment? Can or not? Or number 3.
Yeah, okay.
He says, what is taking so long? The boss is asking her. She says, I'm almost done. And then he said, if I had given this to Ajay, he would have completed it by now. And then he walks away. It's my fault for hiring someone better in the kitchen than the office.
Ooh.
That's more like discrimination.
Yeah.
It's like gender discrimination.
Yeah, does that consider a sexual harassment or more like discrimination?
Good question. Put it down. We're gonna answer that later.
Okay.
Gender discrimination, is that sexual harassment?
So is basically, I'm writing down, is discrimination and harassment the same thing?
Or, yeah? So all of this that we're seeing, if I tell you they are all forms of sexual harassment, can you identify why? Like this one, can you identify why?
Oh.
Because he's talking about the body in a sexual way.
He calls her smoking
How
hot.
she looks like in a...
Did she like it, you think? Look at all her replies. They're like one-word replies, and look at all his replies. She clearly doesn't like it. She clearly felt uncomfortable. She said, lol, thank you. Like, just...
But for all he knows, that could be like
She's laughing and saying thank you.
Yeah.
encouraging it, right?
That could be the way he interprets it.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. So here, there would definitely be a way to put a stop to this, which we'll find out.
Okay.
Here,
Yeah, that one clearly she's not happy.
She's not happy,
Yeah.
right?
Minimizing.
Definitely shouldn't be talking about that lah. You know, like I said earlier, if you and your friend have an inside joke, it might be funny to us, but if you say it outside to other people, it's going to offend someone. This what? Gender discrimination, you say, but could it be sexual harassment? We'll find out.
Okay.
So are they all sexual harassment?
They're all sexual harassment.
Oh.
Even the third one?
Even
Even the third one. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So now we know roughly those scenarios could be sexual harassment. Potentially, they all could be a form of sexual harassment. So now we see what the law actually says. So I told you earlier there's 3 different acts that cover it.
Yeah.
The Anti-Sexual Harassment Act,
Penal code.
Penal Code, Employment Act. We focus on the Employment Act because we're talking about workplace, okay? So under the Employment Act, the revamped one, the amended one in 2022, they have updated the definition of what sexual harassment is. Last time got no definition at all. Nothing in the Employment Act
So
that's,
if somebody is sexually harassed,
they cannot do
So
anything.
before 2022, they couldn't.
Cannot do anything. It's just between you and your company. You can come to your HR and say like, hey Titi, you know yesterday John went and touched my knees, for example. And I'll be like, oh okay Divya, come, sit down, tell me all about it. I can do that. And my company must have had the policies in place for HR to be able to help Divya take action.
Like a code of conduct.
Yes. If my company didn't have it, John can easily just go off scot-free. What? I never do what? Where the company never say these things all cannot do? Is this a habit that the company practices? All the senior members also never do any of these things. So how come I'm only the one being blamed? So before this, it was very difficult to prove sexual harassment unless it is very clear it falls under the penal code. Then it's a criminal act. So then it's very serious, like for example, molestation or raping, you know, very obvious things that you can tell. But subtle things that happen in the office, it was so difficult to tell. Nobody can tell. But now we're trying. It's not the best, but at least we have something in the framework to show what sexual harassment is. And we have taken this off of many other countries who have practiced anti-sexual harassment in their country, and we adapted it into our country and tried to change it to fit us. So what Section 2 says is, any unwanted conduct of a sexual nature which is offensive or humiliating or is a threat to your well-being in the course of your employment. Before this, don't have this part, in the course of your employment. So now specifically in the course of your employment, if you're working, something happens to you that is a harassment, you can take a case against it. Before this, they don't even have the whole thing. So now the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act is just until here, until well-being. It doesn't say employment, which means you can sue people anytime. If somebody touch you wrongly in public transport, in the train, you can say, hey, I'm going to go to the tribunal and tell them about this, you know? So you can do this. How to remember it? Just always remember unwanted conduct. Anything that for you feels unwanted is wrong. Okay? Even if someone come and like, you know, hold your hand like that, you don't like it, these are unwanted conduct.
Question, TG.
Yes.
How, for example, if I'm using the same scenario that you said earlier this morning about the individual who, you know, just taps
Tap.
everybody in the morning, hey, good morning, and stuff like that. And for me, assuming now, because I have my own company, and if I do that with any individual, how do I know that that's, for me, it feels normal, or it feels like I'm encouraging the individual, but how would I know that's an unwanted conduct for that person?
So,
Because one person in the company may say, oh, it's you
It's
know, the boss
okay.
is just being nice,
yeah.
then the other person may feel very uncomfortable. So,
So,
how do I go about
That's
that?
a very good question. Also a very subjective question.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot tell for certain that someone is comfortable or uncomfortable with it. But to play on the safe side, we just tell them, okay, don't lah, better don't. Or if you are a male and you are doing it to the same gender, like a very normal thing, then okay. Or if you're able to tell that, okay, this person is a new employee, she just joined the company, maybe I shouldn't straight away go and do like that. I maybe show her that this is how I act with all the other employees, then she feels a little bit more comfortable, then she understands that no, it's not a threatening move or anything like that, just me wishing good morning.
So in other words, it's okay to be open and talk about it and say,
Yeah,
this
it's
is,
better to be
yeah.
open and talk about it than keep
Just
all your feelings inside, and then one day you feel so hurt or uncomfortable, and then boom, it all comes out. Then it becomes really ugly for you, really ugly for the company. Now there's all this legal risk that comes into it. It becomes a battle that also affects both parties financially as well. So, but yes.
I have a question. Feels I don't know if it's unfair, but like these, like what Darshan was saying, right? If the employee doesn't say anything but goes straight to the
HR.
HR,
How do we tackle
how can the person know that it's gone beyond?
So that is
Feels
where
unfair, right?
that is where we train the HR. So we need to educate your HR team. Within your HR team, there should be another smaller team, maybe one person, maybe two person that is assigned to do, to take in complaints of harassment, sexual harassment, bullying, anything like that. They usually have a committee, a disciplinary committee or something like that. So you go and make your complaint to them. Let's say me. Then you say, hey Divya, this happened. And I say, okay, I listen to your entire story. I say, thank you. We will not let anyone know about this. This is a very confidential route. Usually everything has to go through a correct process, and you keep the identity private and confidential. You don't go and put it in a notice board saying like, oh, Divya from this department went and made a complaint about this person, that We won't do that. So after you've told me your entire story, I'll say, okay, thank you, I've taken down everything, a report of your complaint. Now I will call in John to talk to him and find out his side of the story. So the duty of the HR is to investigate and tell them that, hey, someone has made an anonymous complaint that this has happened, correct or not? So that's how we have to find out. There is no direct, fast way to find out, but yeah, the only fair way to do is to talk to both parties and never automatically take one side as a biased side. If it's a guy doing it to a girl, never automatically take the girl's side to be the victim. Also listen to what the guy has to say. Similarly, vice versa. Even if the girl is doing it to the guy, just listen to both sides. Sometimes there are a lot of underlying problems that have happened that we don't know about, because the company cannot know everything that happens. So the precaution is to have a policy in place. That way, as an employer, as the boss of the company, as the owner of the company, I've already done my duty to make sure I educate my entire staff that this is wrong. So if you go and do something, I can tell the cops later, hey, no lah, my company, we already sent all the employees to go for this talk. We have educated all of them that our policy covers this thing. So I've already done my duty as the employer. This is their personal problem. If it's a court case, please take it up with them personally. So you have done your due diligence as an employer. So always remember, if it's offensive, if it's a humiliating thing, if you feel like it's a threat, you're uncomfortable, means no. And at any time that you have, let's just say, you have consented to something. Let's say I want to hold your hand, Pritina. I ask you, hey Pritina, can I hold your hand? Can we walk together? And she says, yeah, let's go, let's walk together. We hold hands and walk together. But 5 minutes in, she's like, Titi, I don't want to hold your hand anymore. She's allowed to do that. She can change her mind anytime. It's not wrong for her to change her mind. It's wrong for me to tell her, no, just now you said, okay, what? Let's continue lah. No, that is wrong for me to do. So she can take back her consent anytime she wants. Similarly for the guys also, they can take back their consent anytime. Okay? So this is what the definition says. Now, the definition then went on to break down the types and the forms of sexual harassment. We have broken it down to 5 different forms of sexual harassment. There is a verbal or written form, non-verbal, visual, now digital. Before this, got no digital all. Gestural and physical. So later we'll go into each of it, but just by seeing this, I feel like you can guess, right? So just by seeing these 5 forms, can you guess what would have been each of the types of harassment for these observations? Could you have guessed this? Like, what would this one be?
Digital?
The Kevin one. Yeah, digital. Or written, can fall under both. This one?
Verbal?
Yeah. Or gestural, or physical, because he's talking about her body. So it can be overlaps.
Yeah.
This one?
Sounds verbal to me.
Okay. Yeah. Verbal. We still haven't addressed the gender part, which we're coming to. Now, one very, very, very important thing is to always let the perpetrator know to stop. That's the most important thing. You must communicate with them that you don't like this. Someone's holding your hand, Pritina, you don't like, you must say, I don't like it, please stop. Anything that is a negative form, if you have said it, they still continue to do it, it's not your fault anymore. So, like I was saying, I hold her hand just now. She said, Titi, I don't like this anymore, please stop. And if I force her, I'm the one at fault because she already told me to stop. So it doesn't matter if that person doesn't stop, but you must say it. You must make sure you've said it, that I don't like this, please stop. Or please, I don't want anything of that, to that extent, to tell them. And the last one, non-sexual conduct. What does it mean, non-sexual conduct? Just a guess, Priyanka. What do you think?
Like how that man said about her to be in the kitchen, like gender discrimination.
Correct. So that is how that picture came into play. So just gender discrimination may not may not be a type of sexual harassment, but if you repeatedly do it and you make it something that is degrading and humiliating, and you do it over time, a non-sexual conduct can also become sexual harassment. So for example, I give you another example. Let's say I'm a carpenter. Carpentry job is dominated by men. I'm the only female in this company of carpentry. Okay? I bring my toolbox to work, I go to my locker, I put my toolbox, I get ready, whatever. But as I'm getting ready, I come out, my toolbox is missing. And then at the corner, I see a whole bunch of guys laughing and giggling and saying like, they've already taken my toolbox and hid it somewhere or whatever. It's just a joke. They didn't touch me, they didn't say anything about my body or how I dress, but they every time pull pranks on me like that.
Do they pull pranks on the other guys?
Nope, only me.
Oh.
Only me. Because I'm a female in the industry. I can change the scenario.
Yeah.
You are the only male. You are the only male, Darshan, in a nursing group dominated by women. And the ladies keep hiding your scrubs. Because they're like, tak suka lah. Why he must be in our team? Why can't he be in a team with all the men? I don't want him here. So, just because it's not something actually sexual, but because you're discriminating my gender, it is a non-sexual conduct that falls under sexual harassment. You are harassing me because I'm a female or because I'm a male. I can't help it. So that form falls under.
So is it safe to say then, Titi, that non-sexual conduct usually applies for those of opposite sex?
More likely than not.
Most likely to be.
Yeah, more likely than not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about like within the same gender? Maybe there's one person who is effeminate, for
Yeah.
example, right? And he gets bullied by his fellow
Colleagues who are
who
male.
are also male.
Yes.
What does that?
That can also be a form of non-sexual conduct, because now they're discriminating him firstly because of how he portrays himself or carries himself, and secondly because of his choice of sexual orientation. It's nothing that we can comment about, but people will do these kind of things.
Does that hold up here in the Employment Act?
Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't say genders, So that well, maybe not unfortunately, fortunately, it doesn't say genders, so it works both ways. So it doesn't matter that if it's a male doing it to another male or a female doing it to another female. So far, it hasn't been an issue lah. They haven't brought it up to say that, oh, only male and female can use this. Yeah. Okay, so we now understand a bit better of what the law says sexual harassment is, and we know that there are these forms of sexual conduct and also non-sexual conduct. So knowing it is one thing, but having identified the misconceptions and the gray area is another big thing. Because people seem to think like, oh, okay, I know this is sexual harassment lah. I cannot touch her, I cannot hug her, I cannot I cannot hug him or anything like that. But what would we think are some of the misconceptions or gray areas? There are many. Just to be clear, there are many, but I'm just highlighting some of the more prominent ones. These four are a little bit more prominent. Number one says, intent doesn't protect you, but impact defines what sexual harassment is. What do you think that would mean?
Just because I don't consider it sexual harassment, or if I'm just being nice.
Yeah,
But if another person is not comfortable,
it's still not good.
it's considered, yeah.
Yeah. So like earlier, that example I gave about the older man tapping, he didn't have any bad intent, and legally and practically, it shouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But because for me, I'm uncomfortable, it becomes a bad thing already for me. So it doesn't mean just because my intention is good, it doesn't necessarily mean other people can accept it. So we have to be careful on how we address that, or how we approach people who may not be comfortable with it. Maybe, they feel the hostility, even though you don't give it, but something in their mind or in the space they have created that impact, and we should respect it because it's a workplace. So that's why it's very different if we talk about sexual harassment happening, for example, on a public transport or in a public area, in a shopping mall or something like that. And you hear many, many cases that happen. There was a huge, big case that happened in India years ago where the girl went up the bus and then all these men, molested her, raped her, whatever. Lots of these things happen. But why they are okay to do it outside? Like they feel like it's okay to do it in the public transport or any of these places. Why? Because there isn't much law to govern it. There isn't much regulations to say that it's okay to do certain things or not okay to do certain things. There's a lot of gray area. Obviously, some things are not gray area. Like that guy doing that on the bus is a very clear-cut situation. But the girl going on that bus, she's just going from point A to point B. She didn't think anything was going to happen to her that day, right? But these things happen, so we have to just be vigilant and look out for it. But something could have stopped that from happening that day if bystanders actually played their part, which we will learn how to play a part as a bystander. So yeah, we don't want to create any discomfort or anything like that. That's one big gray area. So it doesn't matter what your intent is, just make sure the person receiving it doesn't feel uncomfortable. I can give you another story, also a real life situation that happened with us, also during COVID time. Another company, the boss, he was working from home that day, and the girl they had a meeting. So this girl, she had a meeting. She also was a new employee, like relatively new to the company, and they were still practicing the hybrid work mode. So that week was her week to work from home, and she had to do a presentation for her boss. So the boss said, okay, we will schedule it on Zoom, we will do it all online, all these things. So she prepared it, she was doing her work, and then on the day of her meeting with her boss, she was ready. She got her laptop ready, she was sitting there dressed up properly in her work outfit, ready to present her report to her boss. Her meeting was at 9 o'clock. Her boss came online at about like 9:03, 9:04, like that lah, 9:05 lah, let's say, okay? He comes on the screen in his sweaty gym clothes. He went to the gym. So he said, oh, I'm so sorry, you just carry on, no problem. I just came from the gym, very hot, very sweaty. I didn't have time to, go get changed and all because the meeting is at 9 o'clock. Never mind, just carry on. So she didn't think much about it. She just carried on. She presented what she needed to present. 12 minutes into her presentation, he took off his shirt, his t-shirt, his gym t-shirt. He took it off.
Reaction.
And she so just like, she don't know what to do. And then he was like, no, never mind, carry on. Very hot, like just so sweaty, the gym so hot today, all these things he said. So she also carried on. She just carried on. Then she finished her presentation, then the boss said, okay, thank you. I will see you at the office next week. Okay, finished. She hung up the call, she said, thank you. Please let me know any feedback, I will email it to you. Then boss, please reply to my email with any feedback. Okay, finish. Then the next week she went to the office. Her colleague asked her, hey, how was your meeting with your boss the other day? Did you present your report, all this? Then she's like, yeah, I presented, all went well, boss was okay. And then she just like paused. Then her colleague asked her, why? What happened? No lah, nothing happened lah. I just, it's okay lah, she said like that. Then it's like, no, tell, why? What happened? So eventually her colleague coaxed her to tell, and she said lah, halfway through my presentation, he removed his shirt, he came to the meeting sweaty and all that. Then the colleague told her like, no, you better go report this to HR now. And she was like shy lah, because she's a new girl and all that. She's like, no lah, I just finished my program. I don't want. It's okay lah, the boss didn't say anything. He told me to just email my report, all that, okay? So she didn't want to go. But her colleague insisted, and she went to HR and complained on behalf of this girl. So she said, no, I'm going to go and tell. If you don't tell, I will tell. And then she said, no need. But eventually her colleague went and told. Then HR called the boss in and asked the boss, did this happen, all that? The boss said, oh yeah, but nothing lah. I just went to the gym only, what? I didn't do anything, what? I'm listening to her, what? And he tried to deny all of these things. So they also don't know how to handle it. They contacted us. HR asked us like, how do we address this situation? So we called him in. We said, look, this cannot be done. Thankfully, this girl is being quite nice about it, not making a full-blown report about you. You better stop this because other people are also uncomfortable because now the colleague knows. This colleague will go and tell other colleagues as well. Then this behavior of yours will be known to everyone. And it's a bad image for the company. We don't want to do this. You either change or we have to let you go. Yeah. So this girl also like scared lah after that. She's like, oh no, what to do. But clearly we didn't give out her identity. But of course he knows also lah who he did it to. But eventually the company gave him a very, very stern warning and told him not to do it. If any other similar behavior, if he doesn't do something like that, they will take more disciplinary action against him. So many funny things are happening just because of COVID. People find creative ways to harass other people. I don't know how also people can think of all these ways, but yeah, it's happening. It's so many things like this are happening. These are just some cases that is coming to my mind as I tell you guys this.
Gigi, can I just excuse myself for a few minutes? I just got to take a
Sure.
quick call and I'll come back. Yeah?
No problem.
Apologies.
Okay, the next one, number 2, silent is not consent. Silent is never consent. It's for so many reasons, for fear, for power imbalance, for job security, reputation. People keep quiet because of all of these reasons. They're scared. They don't want to be labeled like, oh, the sensitive one. Oh, this girl always make complaint, or this guy always make complaint. that is never consent. So usually when you keep quiet, it looks like a form of agreement because you're not saying anything, right? So people think like, oh, okay lah, you never say anything, means you're okay with it, what? Like, it doesn't matter lah, it's just a joke. I didn't say it in an offensive way, what? You know, all sorts of ways people can say it. But it usually just means they don't feel safe enough to speak up. That's usually almost 100% of the time. When you go for an exit interview in a job, some women who leave the company, their reason for leaving is they would never write, I was sexually harassed or I was feeling uncomfortable because my boss did this. Never. They would just say, I got a better job offer, the pay is better. Always, 100%, 99% of the time, it's always that. Because they never feel it's safe for them to say anything. Or even if they do say something, nothing actually changes. The company doesn't do anything to help them. Because let's say, for example, the person that was harassing them is a senior staff member. And the person that's being harassed is maybe a manager or executive or something like that. You know, not someone of the higher ranking. So they always want to protect the senior staff lah. The company always will do that. They also don't want their reputation to go down the drain. That's what they do. So they always feel scared to speak up. But never ever means consent. People always think that, but it doesn't mean that. Number 3, one incident can still cross the line. So it doesn't have to be a repeated one. Sometimes just one thing also can be very serious or very clear that it's a form of harassment and it has crossed the line, and you don't need to wait to see like, oh, is this a pattern that this person does? Is this something common? No. And number 4, being friendly doesn't cancel out the boundaries. So again, if I use the same example of the inside joke, just because between me and you is an inside joke doesn't mean it's not offensive for someone else listening to it.
Even though it's just the two of them?
If it's just the two of them, it's okay. But if you're speaking or if you're making this joke in the office, and if you're saying it loud enough that your other colleagues can hear you, and that might feel uncomfortable, then you shouldn't. It's not right for you to say it. Like, if let's say someone is making a really insensitive joke about, say for example, if we use the recent festival that just passed, Chinese New Year, maybe you make a racist joke about them. But between you and me, it might be funny. But let's say, you know, our Chinese colleagues are here and they heard it, they overheard us making this joke, they'll feel uncomfortable. Then now they'll know like, oh no, Titi and Britina are really racist. They don't like Chinese people. Let's not be friends with them, for example. You know, we wouldn't want people saying that about us, so we shouldn't be saying that about them. Of course, if you do this joke outside at home in your own privacy, that's fine. Nobody is listening to it. Yes, it's a joke. That means you understand the context. You understand that this is a joke that really is a private thing that only meant to be between me and you, and not meant for other people to hear. So just being aware of your surroundings and the people around you, to know that boundaries are important lah.
So this will be under the Employment Act lah.
Yes.
Not so much the
Yes.
sexual harassment.
Yes.
So like last year's Fly FM incident,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Where
One of the announcers.
they were just playing around, and because it was diapersome period,
Yes.
they started making like just going veil or some.
Yes.
They were trying to just have fun. They were having fun among themselves. Oh no, Era FM.
Era
not
FM, yeah.
fun. Era FM. And then somebody videoed it and put it up on TikTok. So they thought it was just a picture of them having fun,
But actually,
people got really
people got
offended.
angry, people got really offended because now this video has become viral. All the Hindu community there's an outburst because they're like, you're making fun of my festival, my tradition. You know, that's just how we chant. You know, but the way they were doing it was as if it was a mockery of how the festival was run. You know. Similarly, if the Hindu community were to do something back to this Era FM guys, it would have been a same outburst, you know. we shouldn't lah. So just because we use the word sexual harassment, the harassment can be in so many forms. It can fall under bullying, it can fall under religious things, or people making jokes about their religious society, sensitivity. All of this is extra sensitive in the today's climate than it was maybe 50 years ago in my parents' time. Nobody would have thought of any of this at that time. Nobody would have, stories that my parents would tell me is like, in their kampong, there'll be one house that is a Muslim house, a Malay house, one house is my parents' house, which would be the Indian house, and then one house would be a Chinese house. Every festival, they will just go to each other's house. Nobody will ask any questions. Nobody will say, hey, can I eat here? Hey, can I eat here? Hey, your food okay? Nobody. But today, everyone is hypersensitive. Social media is everywhere. Information is at your fingertips. Before you can even click, you know already. Like something that's happening in the US, like right now, you can know. So it becomes extra, people are extra verbal about all these things lah. Many gray areas, like I said, but these are like the very, very popular ones that always happen. The misconceptions and the gray areas. So never disregard anyone's feelings when if let's say you're working in a company and you're in their HR team and you're in charge of, for example, doing the exit interview, and someone actually writes that, don't take it for face value, ask them more, dig more, try to make sure the company's culture can change to the right direction. Who knows, maybe these people who have left might come back. Today there's so many of these like websites and apps like Glassdoor, where employees, have you heard of Glassdoor? Where employees can put in all sorts of things that happen in their company. You read all sorts of horror stories that happen. Nobody wants to be in a situation like that or in an environment like that. But also, nobody wants to make the effort to make a change. So today we can all make a change. Okay, now just to see whether we understand what we're going on, so what we've talked about so far, let's just discuss this. If no one complains, is there no problem? Let's say, something happens in the workplace, maybe like somebody makes a joke about the way I dressed, is that okay? Nobody went and made a complaint to HR also? Nobody said anything else besides just here, y'all made a joke. Yo, this shirt today is so funny lah, made her look so fluffy or whatever, Is that okay? No. So we disagree? Girls? You disagree? But why? But why do we then still do this? No one says anything no one goes and makes a complaint. Why people choose to not make a complaint? Like I said earlier, they're shy, they're embarrassed. But whose fault is it though? The organization has made it their culture that it's hard for me to go up to you and say like, hey, just now, right, Divya said this about me, for example. Can you do something about it? Isn't it breaking some code of conduct of the company? No one wants to go and do that because everyone's always afraid or shy or worried that they're going to be labeled something lah. Someone's going to say like, yeah, she's always the Karen lah, always going to make a complaint lah, That's the reason. But the absence of the complaint doesn't mean that the harm hasn't been done. There was harm done, just that we have not acted on it. But how can we change it? Like I said, the company has to change so that the culture can change, so that all of us can change also. If I change also, let's say I'm the one that notice it and then I go and make a complaint to HR, but HR tells me like, never mind lah, Titi, it's okay lah, just go back to your place and do your work. Just ignore this, put your head down and do your work. Don't need to worry. They are like that one, it's okay, they are like that. That's how they are. How?
Yeah, the higher up should be an example.
Exactly. So it must flow down. It must come from the leadership level. all the way down. Okay, now let's see some of the impacts and effects of what sexual harassment does. Understanding the misconceptions and the grey area is one thing, but what kind of impact does it have on people, on us, on the company? Again, many types of different impacts, but I'm just highlighting some of the very main ones that we go through. The first one, harassment changes behavior long before it reaches HR. Like I said lah,
Yeah.
they're shy lah. They're like, "Aiyah, never mind lah. I just let it be lah. I let it be. 1 week, one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year goes by. I never make a complaint to HR." But nothing changes. Again, most of them will just withdraw lah. They will withdraw in their silence because they're scared. They will say like, "Aiyah, never mind lah. By the time I make the complaint also, it will be years or months before HR does anything to change their policy." These are the type of impacts. These are the type of environment that you're going to be in, and it's not going to be healthy for the employees. Number two, people don't leave the companies, they leave the unsafe environment. So again, when you do the exit interview, people won't say, "Oh, actually it's because I feel very targeted here. Actually, people always make fun of me because of, maybe I have a limp or something." Then they make, all sorts of things. Actually, it's not that. People never go and say any of this. People will just say, "No lah, I got a better job offer. I'm going to a bigger company actually." And then your current company will only try to counter offer you back to see whether you want to stay. If you don't stay, clearly it's beyond the money for you. Something else is affecting your decision to want to leave. So the turnover rate, they never find out. They will never find out that X amount of women have been harassed in this company, or X amount of men have been harassed in this company. Number three, teams learn what behavior is tolerated, not what is written. So even if, let's say, your company has a policy, nice big policy prepared, anti-sexual harassment, anti-bribery, all different types of policies your company has, but your team, like you said, from leadership down, no one practices it. No one makes it a point that to do all of these things. No one is monitoring the leadership level to see whether they are trickling down the effect or not. No one. So everything will be ignored lah. So no point you have it written also. Because if let's say something does happen, a harassment act does happen, and then someone comes and later tells the HR, "Actually it's in the policy, how come? How come you didn't follow?" HR said, "We already put it in the policy." This guy or girl may turn around and say like, "No, everyone's practicing this. Last time this big boss did it, you all never did anything also, you all protect him only." So no point having the policy if you don't practice it. And number four, the cost of harassment is rarely just legal. Yes, legal cost is the big financial cost for sure. If you get sued, big financial cost here. You don't want to do that. As the employee also, you don't have deep pockets like the organizations. They may have a lot of money to stretch it out. Okay, you want to take this to court? Okay, let's go. 2 years, 3 years, they want to pay legal fees. But as an employee, as a normal person like me and you, can you pay 2 years, 3 years legal costs? 20, 30,000 a time. Every time they go to court, you need to pay. They will wear you out that way. That's one. Secondly, for the company, their credibility, their reputation, their everything will drop down. Do they want that? They don't want that. They want to keep it all hush-hush. They don't want people to know that, oh, McDonald's has a big harassment case, for example. Nobody wants their brand to be known as the bad company. Like last time, was it Sephora? One of these fast fashion companies had the same problem. I think Sephora or I can't remember, H&M, one of these brands. Similarly, these things happen. not sexual harassment, but they were overworking their employees. A lot of physical harassment and bullying that happened, which some turned into sexual harassment, but not all of it was sexual harassment. They would overwork their employees for like 20 hours a day and not pay them the proper wages, not give them the proper breaks. These employees were burnt out. Psychologically, they were so affected. Some of them had to go and seek medical attention. All of these things can happen to your company. But people will know lah, oh, Sephora, that's how they treat their employees, that's how they do this to people. Nobody want to work there anymore. Nobody want to go there and work there anymore. So your reputation also goes down, your credibility also goes down. Then you don't have enough employees in your company, your productivity also goes down. No point. So all of these are the bigger costs than the actual legal cost of the harassment. Yes, the legal cost, you must pay a lot of money lah, financially. But the whole big picture of your whole company is just going to fall down. There was a case, it became a landmark case in Malaysia, Etika Insurance. This guy, he was the manager, a general manager for one of the divisions in Etika. He's worked there for many, many years, almost 20 plus years. Good employee, no problem, never had any behavioral issues, nothing. He's been there, he climbed up the ladder, made his way to where he is now at that point. Then, one day, they found out a secret habit of his. He had a real liking for young girls, 13-year-old girls and below. How they found out? He went to a club one day. This is a real case, you all can Google it. He went to a club one day. He before he went to the club, he received an email saying that someone wanted to interview him, and they came from the Star newspaper, wanted to interview him about his lifestyle, all these things. Last time Star had a section for lifestyle, so they wanted to interview him about that. And then he accepted the interview. But the interview was actually meant to be an expose. They wanted to catch him, but he didn't know. He thought it was a genuine interview that they wanted to do with him lah. Then they found out that this was happening. He answered all their questions. Yes, I used to go out and, every time lah, he'll find 13-year-old girls, he will rape them, and all these things will happen. So, and before raping them, he will groom them. So he's a sexual predator basically, and preys on young girls. In other countries, they have a sex offender record, and your name would be there if you have been.
Malaysia don't have.
Malaysia don't have. Malaysia don't have, which is why the courts were trying to do something to make sure this is known. So the case became public. They made it known to everyone. Now, from today onwards, after this case is published, the term sexual grooming, which is what he did lah. He groomed these girls to fall for him, and then he would rape them or do whatever he wants with them sexually lah. And the courts recognized this as a term, sexual grooming, which other countries also have recognized long time ago as well. And now anybody who does this kind of things, if you are doing things to young kids as a predator, you can fall under the category of sexual grooming. Even though we don't have a sex predator list, we have cases to highlight that this person, their name is there. This person against this person, or the company against this person. So this guy's name is written out there nicely, Etika Group versus him. So he's been known as this sexual predator, and now the whole country knows because Star newspaper had done an expose and it was out. So when Etika found out about it, they dismissed him. But he was unhappy. He said, how can you dismiss me? I have been working in your company for so many years, 20 plus years. I never did anything wrong. My work is good. My performance is always good. I get bonus, everything. Why now you want to dismiss me over this? Etika said, even if the courts don't find you wrong, we will never ever condone anyone of this nature working in our company, under our brand. We don't condone these kind of things. So despite what you want to say, we have our own ethics, we have our own moral, and it is against our moral. We will not have any employees who have this kind of issues lah. So he was dismissed and Etika won the case. He was never reinstated back. But my point is, it goes unnoticed. So many years goes unnoticed.
And this has nothing to do with his office at all. It was
Nothing
just
to do
something
with his office at
privately.
all, yeah. But he still got terminated.
Did he go to jail?
He served some time for a little bit, but he paid a big fine. Yeah. Yeah. But at that time, and because they were still developing the law, there wasn't any how do you say, punishment put in place to go to jail, so to speak, except raping, molesting, and all that. So now the penal code updated. This sexual grooming is now fallen under that. It's recognized. It's not something that the courts won't say like, oh no lah, you cannot go to or you cannot go to the police station and say like, hey, someone did this to me or anything like that. No, cannot. Now all can already. But a really sad story of how the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act came about in 2022 was because this one girl, Malaysian girl, she kept getting stalked by someone. And she went to the police station and she made a report. But the police officer said, this is not a report lah, this is your domestic problem. This one you handle yourself. And she said, no, it's not a domestic problem. I don't know who he is. He's following me, he's stalking me. And they ignored her. She went to the police station 3 times. They ignored her. I think after the 4th, 5th time or something like that, she cannot take it anymore. She killed herself. She committed suicide. The cops found out. I mean, obviously the legal landscape found out as well. And then they started tabling all of these bills into parliament. So that's how we got the anti-sexual harassment bill.
Wow.
And it was a bill, but then now it's passed into an act. Another bill that is in parliament being tabled, also from matters like this, where someone tried to make complaints to the police officer, they will say, no. Is an anti-stalking act, which is not in play yet. They haven't gazetted it yet. It's still a bill, but they have been trying to evolve this act. So now stalking is also going to be a crime once they have fully put it into an act lah. Yeah, cyberbullying, stalking, physical stalking, anything is going to be put into an act now. It hasn't been gazetted, but it's already been tabled to Parliament, and they've been discussing it and trying to talk about what other things they can put in. So when we don't have an act, when Malaysia doesn't have any act to govern areas like this, we have to look at other countries to take a little bit here and there and then put it in for ourselves lah. Because we're a younger country, we may not have these acts that other more senior, older countries may have. So we try to take it, but when we adapt it, we will have to adapt it to our culture as Malaysians. Okay, now let's talk about this. Let's see if we agree or not. Harassment is a personal issue and not a business issue. Disagree. Yes. Now we know for sure. Previously, people will answer, no, agree. It's your own thing lah. You and him got problem or you and her got problem lah. Not the office thing what. But no, it's wrong. It's wrong. I mean, we can ask so many questions just off of this. Like, how can one person's experience affect everyone else? Maybe I'm the one that has faced the harassment, but in my office, just because I kena doesn't mean other people couldn't have gotten it or didn't get it. Maybe they're also keeping quiet. There was also another time, also a big case, but I don't think this one was Malaysian. If I'm not mistaken, it was Singaporean, where one lady went and made a complaint, but because she made a complaint, it had a domino effect. All the other ladies who kena now had the courage and confidence to go and make a complaint. Actually, I also kena this time. Actually, I also kena. It became because everyone came together, and women who have left the company already also stepped up and came and said, actually, when I was working there, this happened to me also. So now, because there's so many women coming together to make this complaint, it became a class action lawsuit, which means it's many people against one person, sorry, or one company. And I believe they went quite far, those women, because they are fighting for so many women, right? They need to get damages for every one person. Yeah.
Now,
So-
how long ago that the case can be taken?
So for let's say for a land matter, if you're selling a property, selling a land, there is a time limit. If you don't do it between this time, then you cannot anymore already. If you don't come and say, hey, this is my land, how come you sell, for example, then there's a 6-year time limit, or depending on the situation, got different time. But 6 years is usually the average the law will give. But for sexual harassment, there hasn't been a time frame put into the act yet. So let's say you can prove that even this happened maybe 5 years ago, but you can prove it, you kept everything that had happened to you, you can still try. You can go to the anti-sexual harassment tribunal, and they may be able to help you, to guide you what can you do and what you shouldn't do. So far, there hasn't been a time frame put in place. Yeah.
Thank you.
And maybe we go one more slide and then we take a break. Okay. So then, if this keeps happening and silence thrives, then nothing will change. But why does this keep happening? Why does silence always trump going and making a complaint? Why is it so hard for us to just go and like, hey, something happened to me lah. I want to talk to you about it. Can we have a chat? Like, why is it so hard for us to say that? But it's easy for us to just keep quiet and no need lah, nobody will believe me lah.
I think like power imbalance is one big one.
Yep, absolutely. So that's where number one is power imbalance. Always the more important people will get protected. And also because they are protected, they will also always be the harassers, because they know nothing will happen to them. It's okay lah. If I do, nothing will happen to me, what? I'm the boss of the company. So almost always power imbalance. That's one. Nothing happened to me. Or if my boss is doing it to me and I have to rely on my boss for my KPI, bonuses, all these things, then you just keep quiet lah. Let it happen lah. Otherwise I cannot get bonus this year. Otherwise I cannot get increment next year. Everything depends on him. My job depends on him or her, for example. So people keep quiet. They want to make sure they keep their job. They have a family to feed. They have a life to live. They need the job. So they rather just let it happen, keep quiet, and never lah. Because always the boss will be protected one. Nothing will happen to him or her. So people do that. They don't feel anything is going to happen if they make a complaint. Number two, they don't speak up because they don't trust the outcome. Like earlier we said, they know nothing's going to happen. They don't feel safe in this environment. So even if I report, no one's going to believe me. It's not going to be handled fairly because HR always will side boss. Never me. So it will have a backlash. Then I don't want. Then my job will be difficult. Now all my colleagues are going to be like, this girl, she's always complaining lah. Don't want to work with her lah. So difficult to work with her. Always. Or number three, bystander silence is often fear, not agreement. So as a bystander, it's not happening to me, it's happening to Pritina. But I dare not go and say also. Why? Because later they will say, I agree with what is happening, or like, I'm taking sides, or, they don't want. So they stay quiet. Because they don't want to get involved, they also fear. They also fear if later I get involved, then later my job also kena. Later, my boss will say, why you go and say what? Why you go and ask? Nothing happened to you. Our department is okay. Why you go and kacau their department? So, silence becomes normalized. Silence is a very normal thing. So people think it's an acceptance. I just keep quiet means I accept. But actually, no. I'm actually scared, actually. Even as a bystander, I'm scared because I don't want my team to then go and say like, hey, why you go and kepo with their thing? Why you so sibuk? Let it be lah. Nothing to do with you, what? But if everybody thinks like that, nothing's going to change. And number 4, what goes unchallenged becomes the culture. So because I keep quiet, nobody say anything, the boss also okay, now this is normal lah. This is the culture of our company. It's okay to do, it's okay to touch people inappropriately. It's okay to make sexual jokes in the workplace for everybody to hear. It's okay to make racist jokes about people. It's okay. All this becomes normal. So then everyday responses become so uncomfortable. People don't want to say anything. Everything is just now so hypersensitive. So I don't want lah. Just leave it lah. That's why it keeps happening. So calling out behavior makes things worse. That's what people think. People always think that if I call it out, it's going to become worse lah. Better don't make it worse. The situation is bad already, just leave it. But no, we should not. We should disagree with this. We shouldn't think that it's making it worse. The culture is making it feel like if I don't say anything, then if I say something, it will become worse. So I should just keep quiet. But actually, no. We should change that. We should all be able to say what's on our mind in a polite way so that people don't see it as a threat or like the perpetrator is the one that they want to protect, then the victim is the one that people all will like, this is the girl, this is the girl, or this is the guy, this is the guy. And shame him or her. We don't want that. It just like, it's like as if because you don't say anything, it's just silence. So it falls on deaf ears. Nothing's happening. Even though I know, as let's say I'm the HR and I know, but I also don't say anything lah. Easy. Ignorance is bliss. So really, I think we all understand what the law says now. What is sexual harassment? Unwanted act. If you're feeling threatened, humiliated, uncomfortable, means no. So earlier I said there was 3 big acts in Malaysia that govern this. So this is the legal landscape in Malaysia. We have the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. We call it the ASHA. That is the Employment Act, 2022. So the original Employment Act was from 1955. So this amendment in 2022 was where we put in all the new things: sexual harassment, anti-sexual harassment, anti-bribery, maternity leave, paternity leave. All these new things have been included into the Employment Act. Hybrid work mode as well. And then the Penal Code. Penal Code is very straightforward lah. Penal Code is basically a criminal act. If something happens in in a sexual form, like rape or sodomy or molestation, all of these things fall under a criminal act. These two can be a civil act. So now you are covered both ways. You can sue criminally, you can also sue civilly. And under the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act, they have set up a specific designated tribunal. Tribunal is not a court, it's a place where you go and air out your grievances. You go there, you tell them, hey, it's like an informal court lah, if in easier ways. You can tell them, hey, this happened to me that day, I went here, this mall, this happened to me. They will guide you on the process on how to go about it. Maybe they'll tell you like, oh, did you go complain to the mall security? Did you, which part of the mall? Was there a CCTV camera there? They will ask all these questions to find out if you are legitimately making a complaint or you just simply lah. So 3 big acts in Malaysia that govern this. But today again, we're going to focus on the Employment Act. We'll talk about both, the other 2 as well, but mainly the Employment Act. Now let's go and compare the 3 acts. So I've just broken it up into 3 divisions. and just put in the main highlights. We just want to focus on these main areas. So under the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act, the main purpose is protection and redress for victims. For Employment Act, it's workplace compliance and employer duties. And for Penal Code, it's criminal punishment. So you can see, basically, everyone is now protected. The reason why they've broken it up is so that you can be protected in all forms, in all ways. And who does it apply to? So here, anybody can go and make an anti-sexual harassment complaint under ASHA. It can happen to employees, clients, third parties, public. Here, employer, employee. Here, anybody again. Can be anybody. And then the conduct that is covered. Basically, almost everything also lah. Verbal, non-verbal, physical, visual, psychological, workplace sexual harassment, stalking, threats, cyber harassment, everything is covered now. The focus, it's focusing on the impact on your dignity and your well-being. Here, disciplinary process. Here, criminal liability. So again, all forms is covered. Where it applies, inside and outside the workplace, this one. So anywhere, this one is workplace, this one also anywhere, online and offline. So now harassment and sexual or non-sexual can happen online or offline. Offline is like this lah now, but online cyber crimes can also happen. The process, there is a tribunal. You go there, you tell them what happened, they will guide you. For Employment Act, it's an internal inquiry by your employer. So they will call you in lah. Like earlier I said, if let's say Divya made a complaint, I'll interview Divya first, then later I'll interview the person that she made the complaint about. Let's say John lah, whoever this John is, I'll call John in. We'll find out. This one, police report, prosecution. You go to court immediately. Police will get involved. Of course, if there's a criminal matter, it's always police lah. The outcome, we basically want all various outcomes to be there. Protection orders, compensation, corrective action, everything. This one, disciplinary action, penalties. So company need to pay fines if they don't comply. This one also, fine and imprisonment. And what are the risks? Here, always ignoring the victim's protection. So after I make a complaint, am I going to be protected? Will I be sure that this person won't come and disturb me again? They will help you. Here, failing to act or investigate. The risk of the company not doing anything is if they don't act or investigate. And here, if they treat the matter as non-serious lah, and this one is a HR matter only. No need for the police to get involved. All the differences. But each of it is trying to protect people in different areas and in different ways. So it's not about one replacing the other, it's about it all complementing each other. So if I cannot fall under, for example, I cannot fall under ASHA, I can fall under EA. If I cannot fall under EA, can I fall under Penal Code? Somewhere can I be protected? Okay, now let's go and zoom into each of them a little bit. Let's start with the ASHA one, briefly. Sexual harassment is no longer just a HR issue, it is a legal one. So what it means is, earlier we also spoke about it. It's a legal wrong. Now it's a legal wrong. It's not just wrong. Now it's legally wrong, and because it's legally wrong, I can take it up to court, I can go to the tribunal, I can make a complaint, I can go to the police. Even if, let's say, ASHA doesn't say anything about the police, you can still go to the police and make a complaint. They'll direct you. Means you can now try to go to the tribunal, ask them to help you, guide you in the right way. So there is now accountability. It focuses on protection, accountability, and remedies. Now it's telling you it's okay, we can help you. B, it only protects people even when the harasser isn't an employee. So it doesn't matter. Even if you're being harassed by someone outside your office, you can still go. ASHA will protect you. It doesn't have to be someone in your office only. It's regardless of position, gender, situation, status, doesn't matter. It can even be someone of a lower ranking than you and who is not in your office. Doesn't matter. It could even be a third party. So it's like a big shift from what the old thinking was, that only if someone within your vicinity or someone you know work with, employer, employee, only can. But now, this one, no. Now, everybody also can. And doesn't matter which gender to which gender. It's okay. Even if it's the same gender, also they will listen to you now. And then C, you don't need proof beyond reasonable doubt to seek protection. So in court, in the civil court, the measure that the courts use to determine whether a case is proved right or wrong is this measure called beyond a reasonable doubt in the civil case. Beyond a reasonable doubt means you must, whatever your reasonable doubt is, you must have thought beyond it and no way this could be wrong. That's the standard, that's the measure. But in ASHA, you don't need to prove beyond reasonable doubt, which means you have doubt also can already. Enough to seek protection. You don't need to prove beyond reasonable doubt. That's also another criminal standard, beyond reasonable doubt. Criminal and civil standard. And then D, the law focuses on impact, not just intention. Earlier we already spoke about this. It's not just your intention. What kind of impact happens when you act a certain way or when you behave a certain way? It's so wide. There's so many forms: verbal, non-verbal, physical, gestural. So many forms. So now you can, when you receive a complaint, you cannot just ignore it. You must do an inquiry. So this law applies to everyone. So if a company receives a complaint, they also must do an inquiry. They must find out whether it's correct or wrong. What kind of risk are they exposed to? If, let's say, someone makes a complaint about an employee, the process of finding out is really just as important as the outcome. You need to show that you actually did correctly interview, you did the correct process for someone to get natural justice. Natural justice system is something that is unbiased. It's another concept that's called natural justice. So basically you must be neutral lah. You cannot take one side over the other. You cannot be biased. Even if your own personal bias feels like this person is telling the truth, you still must give the other person a chance to speak and air out their grievances if they have any. Then, as a officer of the company, because this is a company, I cannot use my own judgment and say like, hey, I believe her, I don't believe him, or I believe him, I don't believe her. I cannot. I need to be objective and objective about this and present it to my, let's say, board or bosses and tell them like, okay, I've done all of this based on my research or searching or interview. This is what I found out from this person. This is also what I found out from this person. My recommendation is A, let's say. And then it's up to the bosses or the board or the committee to tell me like, why A? They'll ask the question, why you choose this option? Why not this? Why not this? Or can we do this? Everything should be transparent so that no party might feel like, hey, actually, why you go and complain to her? Why didn't you complain to the other HR member? That girl is your friend, right? You simply go and complain to her. Surely she'll take your side, for example. So this way, it's transparent. Nobody can say like, hey, she's taking sides. No, I've done it. I've given it to the bosses. The bosses, this is their recommendation, not me. I just propose only. It's up to them to decide what they want to do. So this way, with ASHA in place, you cannot just wash your hand like that. You have to say that I did my part, but this is beyond my control already. Okay, let's try a true or false. Let's try question 1. ASHA only applies to HR managed complaints. Yes? No?
False.
False. Correct. It applies to all forms of harassment. What about question 2?
For
Sexual harassment must involve physical contact to fall under ASHA. False. Yes, both also can. Correct. So every time we receive a complaint, we must make sure we entertain that complaint lah. Cannot just say like, okay, and then do all sorts of victim blaming and all. No. So that's what we're saying. Employers don't just respond; they are legally required to act. Now, because of the Act, the Employment Act, the employers must do something. If they don't do something, they are now at fault. The employee now can say like, hey, I made a complaint, you never even took my complaint seriously, you never even did anything for me. You just ignored, you delayed it, you brushed it off, brushed it under the carpet, nothing happened. Cannot anymore. You must take it seriously. You must make sure you check, you do your proper due diligence, interview them, find out what actually happened. B, having a policy is not the same as enforcing it. Like I said also earlier, you can have all the policies in the world written down for your company, but if no one practices it, there is no point. There's no purpose of having this policy if you're not going to enforce it, not going to take any disciplinary action. You're not going to conduct proper inquiries. No point. No point. You have it, you have to use it. You need to show awareness of it. You need to show that, okay, as a company, we have this policy, but also if something happens, we are going to make sure we enforce the policy. So everyone is aware. So prevention is actually a duty now. It's not just a favor. I'm just doing you a favor lah, as a company, as a HR, I'm just doing, no. Now it is a must. It's your duty as a company to do this. You have the policy, you have to also educate your employee. C, failure to act can expose the employer, not just the harasser. So the harasser is one thing, but the harasser is working for your company. So your company is also going to be exposed. You're now going to get bad reputation. People are going to know that, oh, D, online behavior is no longer outside work. Now they say, oh, it's outside working hours, what? When I text you, it's okay, right? Or, hey, I text you on your personal phone, what? Not your office number, what? It's okay, what? I'm just asking you what you like to have for dinner. Okay, what? No, not okay. Outside work now extends as well. The Employment Act has said that if you are in the course of duty, it can be any time. Even if you finish work, but your boss has texted you with regards to your work, outside your working hours, it's still work time. You cannot disturb me, you cannot say all these funny things to me, or cannot.
What if like initially you layan, and then like maybe 2-3 months down the road, you're like, I don't want this anymore, but then you are layan already.
Then you tell him like, hey, I don't like this anymore, can you please stop? If still don't stop, then we have a problem. But before that, if you layan, okay lah, no problem. Layan first, maybe just friendly lah, nothing sexual, maybe just made a new friend lah. But later it becomes more and more and it builds up, then suddenly you feel uncomfortable. It's okay, you can say no. Earlier you've given consent, now you've pulled back your consent, it's fine. Nothing wrong with that. So WhatsApp messages, emails, DM, memes, whatever, social media posts, anything, all that you send outside working hours still falls under the employment law, EA, and it also falls under the penal code, which is criminal law. If it amounts to like some sort of intimidation, becomes a criminal matter, then it will fall under the penal code. So sometimes you can have multiple cases going on. You can sue someone under the Employment Act. The same fella, you can also sue under the penal code. You can have 2 ongoing suits at the same time. So it doesn't, maybe this guy did something to you at work, one, but he also did something to you that is criminally offensive. So you can sue both sides.
But does that depend on how much money you're willing to pay to a lawyer?
Yeah, some lawyers will do the case for you pro bono. But the company have to pay lah.
Yeah.
Very quickly, let's just see what the penal code says. Penal code is very, very big. Very big. It's too much things in there. So So to sift through, to make it easy, we just pulled out the harassment parts. So this is like the big change that I want to highlight lah. There are many things that have been changed in the penal code, but this one, these amendments, they criminalize certain forms of harassment. So first one, some harassment is now a crime, not just a misconduct. Before last time, just misconduct only. So misconduct, the punishment is lower, smaller. But now that it's a crime, it's a bigger punishment. So these forms of harassment can be so many things. Can be criminal intimidation, can be stalking, can be online sexual communication. So many things can fall under the penal code. And now B, digital behavior can have criminal consequences. So now all this digital stuff that's happening, all these keyboard warriors who thought they can go unscathed, now they cannot anymore. So messages, images, anything lah, any online threats or content or anything like that, explicit content, all will fall under the provision of the penal code now. So even if you send something outside working hours from your personal phone, like I said just now, if it's deemed as offensive, they can sue you under the penal code.
How about nowadays, some companies give the privilege of company phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not your personal phone.
Correct.
How does it actually apply this? Would you apply it?
Can also. Whether it's on the company phone that they give you to use in your own capacity,
Yeah.
in your work capacity, can also. Doesn't mean that only your personal phone only it will be valid. No, work phone also can. Actually, work phone is worse.
Yeah.
The reason why we say personal phone is because rarely they will send to the personal phone lah, they will send to the work phone. But if it's in your work phone, lagi better lah, your evidence is better. You can clearly show already, this is my office phone. You can take also lah, boss, and see what I do in there. It's not my phone what. Anytime your boss can take it away and like, let me check your phone. I want to see who you've been texting. Have you been doing your work or have you just been, don't know what you're doing? So that is actually a better scenario for you to show evidence lah.
Okay.
Let's see what kind of duties the employer and the employee has. So it's not just employer's duty, employee also got duty. First, let's look at and also under the employer, I must say it's not only the HR's job to monitor this, it's a shared responsibility. Leadership level should also know that this is their responsibility. People always straight away go to the HR team and say, oh, you all never do lah. But actually, it's not just their job, everybody's job together. Okay, let's look at the employer. First thing they need to do, very straightforward thing, is they need to set the system. Put in proper policies and procedures. Doesn't matter if it's just one simple page to say, sexual harassment is prohibited in our company. Our company will not tolerate any forms of physical, emotional, whatever lah. One page, one A4 page is enough to show that you have set the system. You have that, you educate your entire staff, saying that, hey, today we have created a anti-sexual harassment policy. We are calling you all in today to explain to you what the policy is about. After we explain to you, please sign and acknowledge that you understand. And from today onwards, this policy is in place. Anytime there is an update, we will update you. Okay, everybody come, sit, listen. Done. My job, my duty as the employer to do my due diligence, most basic due diligence is done. Enforce the standard. After you tell people all of these things, you must conduct fair and confidential inquiries. So if you do receive any complaints, make sure it's fair. So how to do it fairly? Both sides lah. You have to talk to both sides. And not at the same time. If today you came and talked to me and you told me, hey, John did this to me, then I will, okay, after I listen to your entire story, maybe tomorrow, 2 days later only, I call John to speak to him. let the incident sink in a little bit. Let's see if he changed his story. Who knows? As long as I make sure it's fair and confidential. And protecting the process. So again, we want to make sure there is no form of retaliation back to the complainant. Even the perpetrator, we don't want him to also feel any form of retaliation, him or her to feel any form of retaliation. So we need to protect it. How to protect it? We take proper disciplinary action. There's a route, correct route to follow, how to make a complaint and how to receive a complaint. Very basic things, very basic duties that employers should have. Just if your workplace have this already very good. From here you can expand. If this one also don't have, that's where we need to start lah.
Is there like a sample of template that you would be able to provide?
Yeah, we can provide a sample template just to tell you like what are some of the important things that should be there. From that, you want to elaborate to your own company's culture, that's fine, no problem. But just have the basic thing. But saying, oh, we don't know lah, actually got no policy in our company lah, this one all cannot lah. Shouldn't lah, you shouldn't. If your HR is answering like that, something is wrong. You need to talk to your HR to see like, hey, why y'all don't know? Y'all are HR, but how come you don't know whether got this policy or that policy or cannot? That shouldn't be the go-to answer lah. They should, at least, even if they don't know, they should be able to guide you to something. Okay, let me check with the bosses. Let me come back to you. Has there been any update? They already, whatever lah, something. Okay. So that's the employer's duty. Employee, the law expects the employee to also have complementary duties with the employer. Not just the employer's job to make sure this is done. As the employees, we also have to make sure we do our part. So, first one, we must respect the workplace boundaries. So we refrain from harassment. We follow policies and procedures. Whatever policies and procedures that have been in place, we need to follow. We need to take the initiative to go and read the policy lah. Say I just joined today, but all these talks that was done about the policy was done like months ago. I wasn't in the company yet at that point. I should take the initiative to go up to my HR and say like, hey, is there anything that I should know besides the package that you have given me? Is there anything else? Then HR will be like, oh yeah, please log on to our portal, please read all these policies and acknowledge it or something lah. Or if you don't understand, please come and tell us so we can explain to you. We also have to take our own initiative to read. We also cannot say like, hey, I don't know lah, we got this policy. Nobody told me also that there's a policy like this. It shouldn't be that way also lah. So this is where the supervisors and the managers' responsibility is heightened. If I'm working in your team, you as my manager or my supervisor should tell me, hey Titi, later you don't forget, this is the basic package from HR, they will give you onboarding, but later you must go, and ask them to send you the link to all the policies the company has. Later you must read. So as the manager, you also must have your duty to tell me to go and do that, because I won't know, I'm a new recruit. Someone has to tell you. At the same time, after someone has told me, I also then must go and say like, hey HR, can I get this policy? My boss told me how to find it. These are steps that everyone can take in the workplace lah. So it shouldn't be just like, you go find out yourself lah, I don't know. When I joined also, I found out myself. It shouldn't be like that lah. And then speak up early, next one. Cooperate in investigations and report concerns appropriately. So if you know something is happening, you should go and tell. You should cooperate. If let's say they're interviewing a bunch of employees because something happened, even though it didn't happen to me, but they called me in for an interview, I should cooperate. I should say like, oh, if I did see it, I should say lah what I saw. Oh, I saw that day, John was talking to Pritina, and then I saw that she felt a little bit uncomfortable, but he just carried. I should say that. But if I didn't see anything also, I should just tell the truth. in that I'm cooperating. If I don't know, if I'm unsure, I tell. But if I know, I saw something, I should also tell lah, and report concerns appropriately. So if I know of something, I should report it even before they ask me to cooperate in the investigation. And last one, participate honestly. We also respect the confidentiality and due process. We also should know that, okay, don't force them to, no, listen to me first, follow my way first. No, they also got their process, they also know what they're doing. We should respect that because they are also protecting someone else's identity or confidentiality. So for employees, harassment is not really, it shouldn't be excused because of their rank. It shouldn't be that way. I know that's how we all used to think, but it shouldn't. We should not say that because someone is of a higher position, they will naturally be excused, and then I have to kena the brunt of it because I'm just like an executive level or an admin or something like that, you know? So these are the duties. Very straightforward and easy to understand, but never implemented in companies. Nobody follows this. People don't want to talk about this because it's a taboo topic. It's not fun to talk about it. It's not a pleasant topic. It's not like picking a place to go for company lunch or company team building. That's a fun one. Everybody want to give input. Oh, let's go here. Oh, let's go this restaurant. Oh, let's go here. This one, nobody wants to give input because it's too difficult. It's too sensitive. But we should. This is just basic things that we should do. So if your company is not doing this also now, you should go and tell your bosses or your HR, guys, can we please create one policy? Yeah, that's it. Simple first step. Okay, now let's see what legal consequences and penalties that companies will face if we don't follow this. First thing, of course, disciplinary action lah, where someone could be dismissed if they perform this act that was in sexual harassment nature in the office, in the company. This could be one action. Second one, civil remedies, like I said earlier, compensation damages or criminal charges, depending on the severity. So different types of criminal activities have different charges. If you rape someone, the penalty is different from if you say molested someone or you sodomize someone. All different penalties. Next one, failure to investigate. Delay in action or poor documentation can result in penalties under the EA and expose employers to claims of negligence or non-compliance. So now the Employment Act has actually put in a penalty. You don't follow, we will penalize you. You've got to pay the penalty. And on top of that, there may be other damages to you as well. And having policies alone is not enough. Employers must show consistent enforcement, fair investigations, and genuine prevention efforts. So again, it keeps coming back to having the policy is not enough. You need to show all of these things. You need to enforce it. You need to make sure you're consistent, updating it. If let's say there's an update in the law, you also need to update your policy. If the government updates the Employment Act, then you need to update your policy as well. So every time there is something that happens, we change it. This way, the culture keeps updating to maintain that safe environment for everyone. If we just keep the culture as the way it is and never update it, it'll never change lah. Some companies have been around for like 50 years, 30 years, 40 years. That culture, if us as a young person going into work there now, we will have to follow their culture. And that's where all these issues happen. Because now wishing you good morning could be a problem, so many different things. But if we update the policies as we go along, then the culture also gets updated. Because then people are practicing it. The leadership level is practicing it. That way it's being trickled down to everyone. Everyone understands that, oh, it's okay to behave a certain way or not okay to behave a certain way in this office environment, for example. So the law can only set out the rules lah. This is what the law tells you. But it's our behavior that decides what the outcome is, if we follow or we don't follow lah. Okay, now let's go to some fun ones. Okay, earlier we went to, not fun because sexual harassment is fun, just FYI. Fun because it's more, we can dive into each of it. So earlier we had 5 different types or forms of sexual harassment. Very easy or very straightforward one would be like verbal or physical. These are very obvious ones. But in between we have all these others, non-verbal, visual, gestural. All of them have different, takes many different forms lah. So something that falls under verbal could also be a visual thing, or it can all overlap. Okay, let's go to the first one, verbal or written. Verbal or written is usually like, before I give you guys examples, can you guys give me some examples of some verbal or written forms of sexual harassment?
Like Kevin's story at the start.
Yeah? Kevin, so Kevin's one was an unwanted comment lah. We can say that. It's it wasn't a comment that she was waiting for, but he just said, you look hot, you're smoking hot in this bikini. So unwanted comments, jokes, innuendos, all that falls under written or verbal form. You say it. So it can even be an email, an office email, then you title the email, "Hey baby" or something, you know. That could fall under a written form of sexual harassment.
Yeah, I was just thinking that also, like people
Exchange
nicknames,
nicknames,
like that,
yeah.
right?
Hey baby, or hey
Hey
cutie,
babe.
hey
It could even
babe.
be hey babe.
Yeah, hey babe. Maybe a girl to a girl, you sometimes even say that, right? Hey babe or whatever. But if the other girl is not comfortable with it, then it could be offensive. Then we have non-verbal. Non-verbal is like, what do you think non-verbal would be?
Catcalling.
Okay.
Like making faces lah.
Yeah. What about you girls? Have you experienced any non-verbal harassment?
What if they look at you?
Yeah, they're leering and staring. Yeah. So all of that are non-verbal types of harassments. Looking, staring, suggestive looks, or they're licking their lips, all that non-verbal.
What if it's towards somebody else who's not looking,
Mm-hmm.
but
But you are doing it,
You're witnessing it.
then
You're
you are a
witnessing-
bystander.
So the person is. Oops.
Is that my foot? No.
Like maybe that person is like pointing it, like gesturing and
To another.
and it's like quite lewd or whatever
Yes,
lah.
That's also a form of, even though the other person didn't see it, but you're doing it where maybe someone else would have seen it. Even if it's not your friend or something, someone would have seen it. So that's a form of non-verbal harassment. And then we have visual or digital, very obvious lah, this one. Anything. If we, of course in today's time, we say digital, but last time it could be anything, you know, like sending pornographic pictures or videos or clips on any of those messenger services, you know. Like last time they would used to do all of that, even emojis or stickers that we send in our WhatsApp and all. If it's sexual in nature and unwanted, it's a form of harassment lah. It falls under visual.
But it becomes a problem only when somebody is not comfortable anymore.
Yes,
isn't it?
let's say if I'm in the office, I'm using my laptop, then now lunchtime, I go out for lunch, my screensaver is a pornographic picture. It's just there, everyone can see. That's also a form of harassment lah. I just purposely did it like that. I want everyone to see that, hey, actually this girl, she's very gatal. She like to do all these funny things. She like to me, maybe it's a joke, let's say. But other people be like, why she need to put this? Why she always like that? Every time changing her screensaver to different pornographic pictures, for example. That's inappropriate lah. Cannot. You shouldn't do it in your workplace. You put a picture of your family or something, that's okay. Nobody will complain. But someone sees that, they will surely complain, hey, how come they did this? How come How come can every time nobody says anything, every time the screensaver comes out, it's something lucha, something not nice, but nobody says anything. So that is visual lah, digital and visual. Gestural also is quite easy and straightforward. You gesture lah, you make a gesture about how the body shape is, or how they look, or how they dress, or you catcall, or you whistle. All these suggestives, lick your lips, all that can fall under gestural. And then physical. Physical also, again, very straightforward, unwanted touching lah. Any kind of touching, hugging, kissing, all these things, physical lah. Basically, if your personal space is being invaded, it's a physical harassment.
So, the law defines sexual harassment as any unwanted behaviour of a sexual nature that either violates someone's dignity or creates an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating, or offensive environment, whether intentionally or not.
So earlier, that was what our act says also, right? Any unwanted nature, conduct that is humiliating, offensive, or uncomfortable to you. So you can see across the board, all countries, almost all countries that have anti-sexual harassment law, that is what they say sexual harassment is, unwanted conduct.
His colleagues often make sexual remarks about her appearance and clothing, such as,
"She looks hot in that dress."
and "She should wear skirts more often."
So what happens? What happened there? What kind of harassment is it? Okay. Okay.
Their comments are humiliating and offensive. This is an example of verbal harassment.
So they are talking about how she looks. She's so uncomfortable about it. She's not even wearing anything sexy, but yet they're commenting about how she looks like. So clearly Jane is being verbally harassed here.
In online chats, Alex shares explicit images and suggestive memes that his co-worker Sunil finds degrading and intimidating, even though Alex doesn't specifically target Sunil. Alex also makes obscene gestures behind colleagues' backs in meetings.
So what is Alex doing? Gestures, yeah?
These are examples of non-verbal harassment
Yeah.
that are offensive and degrading. Simon feels uneasy around Chris due to repeated and unwanted touching. Despite Simon's obvious discomfort and requests to stop, Chris continues to greet Simon with a hug and pats his back inappropriately.
Simon? What's he doing? Physical?
This is an example of physical harassment that violates Simon's dignity and is intimidating. As you've seen in these examples, sexual harassment can be a one-off incident or an ongoing pattern of behaviour.
So clearly there's many forms of sexual harassment. Can be one time, can be ongoing, can be different forms as well. So we just want to, the whole point is to create the awareness of why sexual harassment is happening in the workplace and why is it okay, no one's saying anything because of all of this. It's become the culture to, okay lah, nothing wrong what, it's fine. Earlier we talked about power imbalance and how to escalate. So obviously there is a power imbalance. And the power imbalance is always between a form of subtle harassment or a form of overt harassment. Subtle is usually very quiet, and it's almost usually hides behind humor. People make a joke lah. And overt is obvious, intentional. You intentionally touch someone or hug someone or kiss someone. And then the types of escalation pattern that we earlier saw, compliment. It starts this way. Maybe someone gives you a compliment, repeatedly compliment. Then it becomes a personal comment. Then it becomes a direct message after hours. Then persistent messages, even though you ignore. And then they pressure you for one-on-one meetings. This is how it can escalate. So you may want to stop it here already. Maybe you told them here already, please stop it. But still goes until here. Until they will tell you like, oh, if you don't have a one-on-one meeting with me, I won't approve your report to the board of directors, for example. Then you also be like, oh no, how I need to lah, otherwise my job security, I won't have a good bonus this year, my boss not going to give me this, that, all sorts of things will happen. And that's why there's almost always a misuse of authority, because it's always those top guys that this happens to. The power will create pressure, and then they will keep it inside. They don't know what to say. They just let it be. So even there's no threats also, they don't outwardly say any threats. They already know like, oh, if I don't do this, if I don't go with him for this meeting, I cannot get to present my report to the board of directors, for example. And it's not always explicit. Sometimes it's implied. Like I said, they make it known to you that if you don't do this, we won't let you do the rest of your job lah. It's an implied thing. So it's a coercive thing because of the power dynamics. They already have that authority, so they will force you to do things that you are uncomfortable to do, and it will impact you psychologically. There was a case that we handled. It was a UK company. The company is a welding company. It's an institute to teach people how to do welding, like big types of welding lah. And their HR was the problem. Their HR was the one who was not doing the right thing. So what happened was this one girl, she was being bullied in the company, in the office. Her bosses were, her peers were bullying her and they were making fun of her. She went and told HR. HR told her, no lah, where got? You are the one that's saying all of this. Nobody is bullying you. It's just in your mind. But actually her boss told her to go and talk to this lady and find out what had happened. But she took her own initiative and went and told one other story to the girl, and then got the boss into trouble also. So now HQ from the UK has to get involved and find out what happened and all that. Finally, that girl, because it became a big thing, she was so affected by it, she became so sick physically and mentally, she had to go to a doctor to get a psych evaluation, and she started taking psychotropic drugs. Because she had to take it, it was prescribed by the doctor, and that became a big issue. People started making fun of her. Oh, she's not tak siuman lah, yeah, she's not stable lah, this, that, all sorts of things. And it became a big matter. She sued the company. We represented the company, and we had to find a way to explain to the company, you have to let go of your HR, otherwise you're going to lose this case. That girl that did this, the HR girl, was terminated. And that poor girl that actually had to go for psych evaluation, she still had to continue taking her meds after that. I don't know if she still had to continue right after, like how long after the case, but when we completed the case, she was still taking her medication. And it was so hard for her to look for other jobs because she couldn't couldn't do anything stably. Her mind wasn't there, anymore. So these are the type of impacts that we get. That's why silence is rarely comfort, it's usually them calculating. They're scared lah, they don't know what to do. They have to calculate their move. And subtle harassment is always harder to prove. So anytime anything happens to you, you must always document it. Sometimes it's hard, like for example, if you have a secret admirer in the office, every day sending you flower, chocolate, whatever lah. Every day on your table got something one, but you don't know who is it. Maybe one day they put their name there, then from then on you knew. Or maybe every time they put their name and you know who is it, doesn't matter, but this thing is always there and you don't like it, you feel so uncomfortable or anything, it's just not nice. You want to throw it away. Your natural instinct is to throw it away or complain or tell your friend or something lah. But don't. Just, if you really cannot tahan, take a picture at least. Take a picture of it, email it to yourself, keep it. Because one day when it comes to a point where you want to do something, you cannot remember the entire incidences that have happened to you. So what we always advise our clients is, something happened to you, straight away send an email to yourself, type it out. Today I was in the office, I was sitting at my desk at 9:30 in the morning, John came and put a coffee cup on my table, even though I told him I don't want, he just left it there and then he said a comment to me, for example. Just type it, send it to yourself, just email it to yourself, just keep track of it. Today, John, take a photo of that coffee cup, then you put it, attach it in your email and send it to yourself. Or you can keep it. Like some people, they actually keep their gifts. They may have given them a teddy bear or whatever. They keep it, not because they like it, but they want to make a complaint and they want to keep it as proof. So always document it. That's the best way for you to remember what happened. Because if it happened today, 1 week later you may not remember the actual sequence of the incidents. Yeah, I remember John came and put the coffee cup, but what actually the whole thing transpired, I may not have remembered exactly. But if I immediately send it to myself, at least the timestamp is also there on the email. You can roughly gauge okay I sent it 1 hour after it happened or something like that, you know? And most serious violation always begins with small behaviors that were tolerated. You tolerated it first. It was okay lah, it's a joke lah between friends. Then because it was okay, it becomes more. They do more and more and more and more. And then now it's not okay anymore, I don't like it. I don't want this, can you please stop? But they don't want to stop also. So you do that. You keep taking notes down to yourself so that you are aware what is happening. And you yourself can remember it when it's time to remember. So basically we want to make sure our workplace is respectful. And how do we build a respectful workplace? This is how we should build it. This is the basic. First, I said earlier, you should have the policy and you should educate all of your employees of this policy. So how do we do this? We have a clear professional communication. That was the first thing. Then we have respect for personal and professional boundaries. You don't come into my personal space, I also don't come into your personal space. Consistent behavioral norms across all levels, not just the normal guys have to follow this. The top guys also have to follow. The leadership team also have to follow. Leadership modeling expected. And early correction of inappropriate behavior. If you already notice something is inappropriate that someone is doing, correct it there and then. Tell them, hey, this is not right. Have you not seen our policy? Our company don't condone this. Stop doing it. Straight away, point it out so they know that you're not tolerating this. So workplace norms respect should be visible. Feedback, don't give personal feedback lah. Like just now Jane, no need to tell her outfit lah. Just tell her about her work. The feedback should be work focused, not personal. Doesn't matter what she wore. Meetings remain professional. Don't have one-on-one meetings and say that, oh, I only want to have a meeting with you only. If not, I don't want. No. Meetings should remain professional. Private communication is still work-related. So earlier when you message, still work-related. Senior staff do not have leverage for familiarity. So just because they're senior doesn't mean they get away with it. They also should fall in the same category. Everyone should be the same. And concerns should be addressed early. Same. Everything should coincide. That way you know that the workplace is safe, everybody feels safe. Nobody is being judged or nobody is being targeted. And we want to definitely encourage reporting without fear. This is the biggest thing that we want to make sure our company follows. Safe reporting. We must take the complaint seriously. Who has made that complaint, we must take that complaint seriously. Then we must make sure that the process is fair. We give each party some time to talk to us about it. Confidentiality. We must make sure both parties' identities have been remained confidential, and there will be no retaliation to both parties. And what kind of action will follow after the inquiry? So after you told me the story, I should be telling you the steps. Okay, Divya, after this is what I'm going to do. This is what the company will be focusing on. We will tell you once we receive an outcome on this day, for example. So Divya also is clear. Okay, the company is going to do something. Later they will update me. They're not just taking me for granted. So this is the most important thing. Just make sure you have a clear pathway for people to make their complaint. So in your policy, you would state that step 1, collect form A from HR, put in your grievances. Example lah. Step 2, HR call you in for an interview to talk about what had happened. Step 3, HR will inform you of the outcome after investigation is done. For example, this is like very basic lah, but it's there. They know. You also can see, HR also can see. So it's transparent. I know if I go and do this, this is what their process is. And HR also know, okay, they know already lah, I have to do this. So it's very, very clear. And when I say retaliation, what does retaliation look like? Do we know what retaliation look like? People are scared. They don't want to say because they're scared, right? Retaliation. Retaliation can look like all of these things. Suddenly, I get negative performance feedback. Suddenly, my boss says I'm not doing my work properly. Suddenly, I'm excluded from all the meetings and the opportunities in this big project just because I went and made a complaint. Suddenly, I'm given hostile treatment. Nobody wants to talk to me anymore because I'm the one who made the complaint. They call me a gossip. I get reputational damage. This girl, she's a total Karen lah in the office. Subtle career stagnation. Nothing happened. I don't get any promotion. I don't get anything. These are forms of retaliation. Silent forms of retaliation that people just don't know how to do. Don't know what to do. But this will happen. And as a bystander, it's not happening to me, but it's happening to my friend. What should I do? Bystander's role is actually very important. And in the Western countries, they actually give the bystander a lot of protection because they're actually watching what has happened, but they dare not say because firstly, it didn't happen to them. Secondly, they don't want to suddenly get involved in something that is going to put them at fault or anything like that. So they scared. But actually, and some countries even have a rule called a Good Samaritan rule. Just because you have said that, we won't charge you with anything. Everything will be confidential. Thank you for being a good Samaritan. That's usually what they say. So bystander is similar. We're trying to be a good person here. Their role is to influence the workplace culture. So just because it's not happening to me doesn't mean I shouldn't do anything. I also should recognize the inappropriate conduct early. If I saw it happening to Pritira, I should be like, hey boss, you know that day I saw something happen. Can I please make an official complaint? That should be what I do as a bystander. Avoid normalizing the harmful behavior. All this bad behavior shouldn't be normalized. And we should support them instead of victim blaming. Most of the time, people will just victim blame. No need lah, what for lah, she always like this lah. But we never give them support. We never listen to them. And we should escalate our concerns appropriately. Same way, like how the victim would go and make a complaint to HR, the bystander should have a pathway to go and make this complaint to HR as well. And safe ways to intervene. So we should directly address the behavior. If, say, example, if let's say I saw this happening right now, I just come and distract lah, interrupt the situation. Someone's disturbing Pritina and I'm there and I heard it, I'll be like, hey Pritina, we're supposed to go for lunch together, right? Come, let's go. Stop it. Distract the situation, make it end. So the perpetrator knows that you're going to take that person away. That's one way to stop the situation. Come, let's go. Then later when we go, I talk to her lah. I said, actually what happened? Are you okay? Did he say something to you? Can I help? That should be the conversation. Check in privately with the affected person. Then document the pattern. Pritina, you should send yourself an email. Then later you CC HR also. I should help her. I should tell her these things. Report through appropriate channels. You want me to follow you? Are you scared? I can be there with you if you feel comfortable. That should be things the bystanders say and help. Not make her feel more victimized and say like, oh my god, did he talk about your baju? Yeah lah, you shouldn't have wore that lah. I shouldn't say that to her. I should help her. I'll be like, come, let me follow you. Are you okay? Do you need a drink? Can I help you? Those are things the bystanders should be doing. So, everything that I've said so far, does it make sense? Does it look like it's difficult to follow? No? No? What about companies? If you were running a company, would it be hard for you to follow these steps? If let's say you own a company, you're running your company, and first agenda of duty, opening your company, prepare policy. Is it hard? No, right? Yeah, and today we have so many tools to help us. So many AI tools to help us. So many consultancy companies to help us, like Ronan Consulting. So many ways. So Google, so many other policies that other companies have already created that we can use as examples. But just don't find the easy way out and say, no lah, no need lah, nothing happened in my company lah. That's when something will happen. So if you don't have the policy and you don't know what's happening, that's the biggest problem. But if you have a policy and you don't know what's happening, that's okay because you covered your ground already. You make sure as I start my company, I want to make sure my foundation is right. Okay, I want to tell all my employees, you make sure when you go for sales meeting, don't simply accept anything from people, okay? You tell all your employees. You make sure when you go for meeting, you dress properly, okay? Don't let people talk about your outfit or body or anything like that. You educate them. You have already told them. This is our company policy. We have no gift policy. We have no tolerance for sexual harassment. We have no tolerance for people who have religious biases. We have no tolerance for all of these things. We have zero tolerance. We are a company that are inclusive. We respect everyone. But if you don't do that and something happens, then you can't blame your employees. You yourself as an employer didn't do anything to make sure that this is a safe environment for your employees to work in.
I've got a question.
Yes.
What if you have not written the policy?
Okay.
It's a verbal policy,
Okay.
or it is stated in your agreement with your so-called part-time employees or full-time employees, right?
Okay.
So basically you say, okay, the dress code should be so and so, and yet you have also issued a proper t-shirt, for example.
Okay.
Right? And when they attend those kind of events that represents your company, yet they
don't wear the t-shirt that's given to them.
the t-shirt is given to you, and at that instances dia kena usik lah. For example,
somebody
commented or said, you know lah, sometimes people
you look nice today,
or maybe she was not addressed well at that situation.
Okay.
So what does it influence to the company? Can she
Companies yang dah bagi tahu kan jangan pakai.
dah bagi tahu, dah bagi t-shirt, dah bagi ni, tapi
Betul, tapi you pakai juga.
So
how?
how?
Okay,
How
good
do-
question. Good question. Firstly, you have mentioned that okay, there is no written policy, but in your employment or engagement contract or
Yeah.
independent contractor contract,
Uh-huh.
it is stated in there that our company practices ABCD.
Yeah.
Okay, therefore you are expected as our contractor to also practice ABCD. And you do not practice it, you resign lah.
Correct.
You can take up an action against them.
Okay.
Yes. You can, firstly, maybe you want to start with a warning lah.
Uh-huh.
You can start with a warning first. Say after you give the warning, she come and say back to you, but nothing what, I'm still wearing decent outfit what, I didn't do anything wrong also. Then you say, yes, I didn't say your outfit is not decent, but I said today's event is a branding event. It's about our company. Therefore, we have given all the employees matching corporate shirts to wear. Why didn't you wear? You are going against company policy of branding and never mind the sexual part also first. If someone who said you, that's your problem, I already tell you, right? You have to wear this. From today onwards, after I told you this, my company is going to put it down on writing. We will have a new written policy. But my verbal policy still stands.
So it's
Because-
still valid even
Because
though it's-
everyone still follow, right? Only you
Correct.
didn't follow. Yeah.
Okay.
It still stands.
Okay.
Because you did your part.
Mhm.
You educated them. When you give the baju, you say, okay, tomorrow everybody wear this. This is our company event. Please make sure everybody wear this. If you don't wear, whatever lah. We will have to. Maybe you cannot stand in front with us, or you have to do the back end job, whatever lah. But make sure everybody wear, okay? Because this one you explain lah. This event is with the government, so we need to make sure we comply with certain requirements of the government, or even if it's a private company, they have their policy. Some companies won't do business with you if you don't have the policies that they want. So let's say a big company. We had a client receive an inquiry from another company. The client sent us, hey Titi, I received an inquiry from this company lah. They want to do business with us, but they asked us whether we have ABCDE policy. Anti-corruption, anti-bribery, anti-sexual harassment, no gifts policy. All this policy, he asked me, hey, we have in our company. So I said, A and B we have, C, D, E we don't have. Let's do it now lah. Let's create one. Let's make sure we create it, we educate the staff. Then we give it to the company saying, yes, we comply with all of your ABCDE policy. Now can we do business together? If they say, okay. A lot of local companies also like that, like Kenanga, they have so many policies. ESG policy lah, all sorts. You don't comply with them, they don't want to do business with you. So you yourself have to make sure you comply, otherwise no company want to do business with you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Okay, welcome back everyone. Okay, we're at the last stretch. I know it's all very too much information going on a Friday morning, Friday even, but let's finish it. We're almost there. So far, everything that we've spoken about, do you guys have any questions or anything unclear or anything you want to ask, or do you want to save it for the end? Also can, but if you want to ask, can ask, okay? So this last bit, I just want to show this one slide. This one bit talks about the investigation framework. So I've broken it down into 10 steps. I know it looks like it's messy, but 10 steps to easily go through from complaint to closure. So let's say you receive a complaint today. This will be the first step you do. Complaint received, you make the report, you record the details, and you assess the risk. The risk to yourself, as in when you talk about yourself, you're talking about the HR, which means you are talking on behalf of the company, yourself, and the person who is making the report. as well as the report that is the person that is being made against. So you assess all of that. Once you assess that, then you're able to go on to the next step, which is the preliminary assessment. So you ask yourself, or your team, whoever is in that team with you, is it a sexual harassment allegation? Is it a misconduct? Is it an interpersonal conflict between two colleagues? Which is it? Which does it fall under? If yes, if no. If it is harassment, you go on to a formal investigation, which means you follow this step lah. If no, you refer back to your relevant company policy that you have with regards to that matter. So let's say if it's a misconduct, you go back to your company policy and see what your policy says about handling misconduct. How do you handle misconduct? Is it a disciplinary action? Is it a warning letter? Is it a show cause letter? Follow the steps in there. If you don't have a step for that, that means your HR has to create a policy for that. There isn't one for that. So let's say it is yes, it is harassment. Now we proceed to the formal investigation, which is this. Interim protective measures. We need to separate the reporting lines. Let's say two of them are reporting to the same person, separate them. Or make sure their parts don't coincide. Let's say one person is working for procurement department, one person is working for the projects department. They need to communicate to get items, separate them. Try to find a way to do that. Adjust their work arrangements, preserve the evidence, and monitor the retaliation risk. So make sure there is no retaliation. If you have all of these policies in place, this will be okay. Then you go on to the next step. You appoint the investigators. So usually when you want to choose someone to investigate, it has to be a third party that has no involvement with you. If it is a company, like I said, let's say I'm in the procurement department, the person who did this to me is in the projects department, maybe the investigator is from the admin department or the HR department. Okay? So someone impartial. No reporting relationship. Both of us have no relationship with the investigator at all. That person has no idea how we work or what we work or what our KPIs are, nothing. They don't know anything to do with us. We also don't know anything to do with them. Trained in investigation. That person must have already known what is the company's way of doing investigation. They've already trained themselves. HR has trained them. To do investigation, you need to do A, B, C, D, for example. They are trained. And there is a clear scope that is defined for them as the appointed investigator. Yes, my job in the company is the head of admin. But in this particular scenario, I am an investigator for this case, so I must put on my investigator hat and not my head of admin hat, for example. And then we go down to gather the evidence. Documentary evidence, digital communication, CCTV, access logs, everything, witness statements. If your company is the type that taps in, those logs can be used as well. You got CCTV, you can use that. You got documentary evidence, you email yourself what had happened, those are all documentary evidence. You screenshot conversations, WhatsApp conversations, or any type of conversations. All of that is evidence gathering. If you know there is a witness, then you can tell. Like let's say Pritina can say, oh, you know my colleague Titi, she saw it happen. Then that investigator must come and say, hey Titi, I want to interview you. I heard this incident happened and you were a witness to this incident. I should cooperate. Then, that's where we go, the interview. Then after evidence gathering, interview. So every party gets an interview. The complainant interview, the respondent is then informed and then also interviewed. The witnesses are interviewed. We clarify any inconsistencies and everyone signs their documents. So you have made this statement that this happened to me on this day, at this time, I was at my desk, this happened, I signed, Pritina. Then Divya signs, oh yeah, I saw that day, Pritina, John went and did this, as a witness, sign. And then John also signed his one. No, I didn't go to Pritina's desk, I didn't give her coffee, he signed. Interview done. Then we go on to the next one. Evidence assessment. So again, balance of probabilities is usually the standard that they use. But if it's a misconduct, then we have to also weigh out on a different balance of probability. So we assess the consistency, the credibility, the corroboration, the motive to fabricate. Why would they have a motive to fabricate? If they do, why? Maybe they are trying to climb up the corporate ladder. You are in the way. Maybe you both join at the same time, and then now you are getting better treatment. So this fella is jealous or what? So he tried to sabotage you. So maybe it's not even a sexual harassment. So they got to do all these interviews properly to find out. Maybe it's a misconduct. And then once they've assessed the evidence, they go to the findings and the recommendation. This is where I go and recommend to a board of directors or the bosses, for example. The summary of the allegations, the summary of the evidence, the credibility of the finding. Is it credible? Should we trust all of this evidence, or should we do more? Policy breaches. Identify where they breach the policy. And what is your recommended action? So you need to recommend something to the board so that they understand what can they do. And then it comes to the next step, decision and corrective action. So then you recommended, let's say, you recommended disciplinary action. The board will ask you, why? Why did you recommend this? Why so harsh your decision? Why was the case so serious that you recommended this? I need to justify. That's why I shouldn't be biased. Or maybe I proposed a lower punishment. Nevermind, just give him a written warning. The board asked me, no, how come? Why you only recommend this? It should be a disciplinary action. So serious what the matter? Why you only recommend this? No, re-investigate. Let's find a new investigator. I feel like you're biased. For example, they can ask all of these questions. Document decisions rationale. What's your rationale for asking for all of these documents? Why you didn't ask for that document? How come? There's document A, B, C. How come you only asked A and B? Why you didn't ask for document C? Are you hiding something? Are you trying to protect someone? So they can question you here. So you must make sure everything is transparent. And then the last step is communication and closure. You need to notify the parties what is the decision of the company. Then reinforce the non-retaliation. Make sure no one gets treated badly in the office. Maintain the documentation. Whatever documents you've already kept in place, keep it. File it. Open a new file for this matter. Put it under HR. And monitor the workplace environment after that. So after all of this happened, you monitor to see whether John is still doing this to Pritina or not. Or now maybe John went and do to Priyanka. This Pritina always complain. I'm going to find another victim, for example. Or maybe he behaved himself already. No more. Okay, he stopped doing it. He's reformed. Okay, we see the changes in him. But this is the basic framework a company should have when it comes to reporting a complaint. From start to end. So you report until you close the case, it should be documented. There should be transparency. There should be all of these policies in place so that the person who's doing it also understands what to do.
How long does it take for the file to be active or open if you have these kind of cases?
Let's say average 2 months.
2 months monitoring and
for them to do the investigation. They want to interview maybe they have many witnesses that happen to be at that scene. So maybe they want to interview all 4 witnesses. Let's say got 4. Then got 2 parties, of course. So got 6 people. Then they want to conduct the interview, and usually they will conduct the interview in a confidential way. So if I call you today, not necessarily I will call Priyanka today. Maybe I'll wait 1 week only that I call her, because I don't want it to overlap. I don't want them to talk about it. I don't want them to know that that other people are being interviewed.
Okay.
So I want to protect everyone's identity. At the same time, I want to receive correct information. So if I do it so openly, they may already have a chance to talk. Maybe Pritina goes and tells Priyanka, hey, yesterday HR called me, then they asked me question, this question. Or she's already been briefed of the questions that are going to be asked. Now she can prepare her answers before she comes for interview with me. So we don't want that. Maybe we give her a letter first. Okay, your interview is today, 20th February, 9 a.m. Please report to level 1, meeting room 1. You will be interviewed by ABCD. So she she interviewed. But Priyanka may not receive the letter yet to know when her date of interview is. So she won't know. She may not even know there's going to be an interview. So we try to make sure that we don't overlap it, or if it's overlap, it should be, maybe it happened together, then we want to call them together. Then that way they cannot change their story, they're already in front of us, they have to say it lah in front of us straight away. So yeah, this is the framework. This is the basic framework lah. You should at least have this. If you have more, if your team has done, like maybe you have an R&D team also. Some companies, they have an R&D team to do all of this. They go and research more things that's happening other places, put it in. They constantly put it in, they constantly update their policy, they constantly update their employees also. They will send email blasts, okay, today we have updated, da, 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 da. Make sure you go and read and acknowledge. They will do it like digitally lah. So people will do that. But yeah, so this is the basic framework that a company should have and should follow. Pretty much straightforward, not very hard to follow.
But this is also, in a way, this is the ideal lah, right?
Ideal.
And like it or not, there's always sometimes a bias that happens within organizations to side with who, right? So then what kind of assurance does the complainer get, or how can this complainer request for more assurance?
More assurance.
Yeah.
So they can ask for example, like when it comes to the retaliation process, like here, reinforce non-retaliation. So they will ask like, how sure am I nothing's going to happen to me? You're just saying it. It's your word against my word. Definitely, there may not be like a guarantee that they can give you, but they can say like, okay, I'm willing to put it down in writing that today you're being interviewed for this. Based off of clause X of our policy, we will make sure we maintain confidentiality. They put it down in writing. That's the most that they can do for you lah. They can put it down in writing. You can sign it. They can sign it. So if let's say it somehow comes out, some people are suddenly gossiping about it, then they have already breached this, and you can take it to the IR department and say like, hey, my company breached this. Look, I made a complaint in privacy, in confidential, in the correct route that my company's policy in. Yeah, and yet I still got targeted. I shouldn't be targeted. They can take up a action against the company, but they can't give you anything beyond that. They can give you a black and white. That's about it. They can put it in writing that we assure you we won't lah. But if they still do, then at least you have that to show like, hey, you said you won't, but now you did. So you breached your contract already. So it actually becomes a civil matter, because contractual breach doesn't fall under criminal lah. It falls under civil. Yeah. So I'm gonna end there. Some things for you guys to do is maybe think about this. Think about these 3 checklists that you should have, or your company should have. Firstly, an organizational compliance checklist, not just sexual harassment, all other forms of compliance that a company should have. Like I said, anti-bribery, anti-corruption, anti-sexual harassment, many different types of policies, PDPA, what's the other one? Using pirated software. Companies don't want you to use pirated softwares anymore. You must buy the original software. All those fall under compliance checklists, not just sexual
Dress code, attendance.
Dress code, code of conduct, all falls there. Everything. But because we're talking about sexual harassment today, that's why we are saying that. But when you do a checklist, it should encompass everything. You should review your checklist, let's say every year. Every year your company turns a new year, you review, oh, should we update this policy? Hey, should we update our entertainment policy? Maybe our budget is bigger this year. We should change it. Once you update, you tell everyone lah. It can be any way. You can call for a meeting, you can send out a notice, you can send out an email. As long as employees are aware that you have done that, it's okay. So it can be all forms of compliance. Retaliation, how you control your retaliation, all that can be there. And then checklist number 2, your personal accountability checklist. You yourself as an employee of the company or as a person, what kind of things that you should look out for? You should understand the reporting process. You should be able to intervene when you see a red flag as a bystander. You should know what is a safe way to intervene and not hurt that person that is being targeted at that moment. All that falls under personal accountability checklist. You want to maintain the confidentiality if you, let's say, make a complaint. All of that, making sure that the standards are consistent all along. And then checklist number 3, policy gap review. So 30-day action plan is what you want to see in that cycle of 30 days. Is there any gap in your policy? After you've implemented it, in that 30 days, have you found any gap? Has anyone said anything? If they have, we should call in a review after 30 days. Call in, let's talk about it. Let's have a forum. Whoever who wants to give in comment, the company is willing to listen now and take in all your feedback and try to improve this new policy or whatever it might be that you're trying to change. Could be a culture thing, could be a policy thing, but whatever it is, try to maintain that. Try to always find a way to bring it back down so that leadership is aware. Hey, we are taking action. Are you following on this? Are you aware that we are trying to take action on this? So leadership is also, okay. All my employees are also making sure that we are accountable. We are keeping them in check. We are making sure that they are accountable for their actions. And we are reinforcing the communication. You don't want to communicate with me? I'll communicate with you. You don't want to ask me about the 30-day action plan? I'll ask you, boss, what happened? That day got somebody say there's a typo here. Could even be a typo. That day somebody say got a typo here. Now the meaning is so different already with that typo. Or the word is wrong here. We should change it. Can change our boss. Can we start this project? So I'm taking the initiative. And this should be our key takeaway today. Sexual harassment preventions. How do we prevent it? We need clear policies. Every time we have a complaint, we must make sure we inquire. Otherwise, we're actually against the law. We have to structure our investigation, make sure there's fairness, corrective action, leadership accountability, and continuous monitoring. Just because it's working doesn't mean it will work forever. The time is changing. Whatever policy that the company made 20 years ago, today cannot really. I used to work in RHB Bank, and the policies that they would get me to read are like from 1998, 1990, and it's today's time. And when we try to tell them, like, oh, can we change this? It doesn't even go with the act anymore. The act has completely changed. Companies Act, this act, that's, but they don't. They're like, no, this is the bank's policy, just follow. So it's so hard to change their mindset. It's so hard to break them away from it. But as much as we try, they will slowly, okay lah, Titi, you draft lah, then you propose lah. They will say that. If you really want to change, then you draft it and you propose to the board. I don't want to do it, but someone has to do it. This one. Next one, organizations must ensure they have accessible reporting channels. Some people don't even know there's a reporting channel in their company. There's a whistleblowing policy. That's another big one that people don't do anything about. There's a whistleblowing policy in my company, but nobody knows what is a whistleblowing policy. Apa tu ah? What to do ah? How to use ah? Nobody knows. Protection from retaliation. Documentation integrity, consistent enforcement and transparent processes. They must always make sure this. If you do this, nothing bad will happen to you. Even if bad things are happening in your organization, it won't affect you because you are being so transparent with everything. And all the employees must be able to recognize red flags. They must be able to help and intervene. They know how to document what happened to them. They avoid informal dismissal. So like the boss just dismiss you lah, never mind lah, just go back and do your work lah. It's nothing lah, put your head down, do your work. Maintain confidentiality and speak up. This speak up culture is almost non-existent, which we are trying to bring back lah into workplaces. And the last takeaway, to know that you're working in a safe workplace, these are some of the things you need. You need to trust in the reporting channel. You need to make sure it's fair so that there's no retaliation. You need to have support from your leadership team, and everyone needs to respect everyone's dignity. Just very basic things that people overlook all the time. Nobody thinks it's necessary. Nobody thinks anyone's going to do anything about it until it affects yourself or someone really, really close to you. Then it hits really close to home.
I have one question.
Okay.
So like, say I work in company ABC, the person who did something to me is also within the same company. I raise a complaint and then it becomes a whole thing. This person, like, no, this person is doing defamation, and they start a whole case thing. Usually are these taken on by the company to defend, or does either one party have to take it out and be like do it personally?
Okay, so if let's say you make the complaint and then about someone to the company, and now the company is taking an action against that person that you made a complaint about, then it is between the company and them, that person as a company and an individual. So that would be a civil case lah. But if it's, let's say, between you and that person, and let's say, like you said, that person is suing you for defamation and saying like, no, I never did all these things, she's spreading lies about me. That's a private action between the both of you. So there isn't an action between the company and you. And the company wouldn't take an action for you against that person. But they will be your support, they will encourage you. But they can't take that action for you. Would like to say thank you. Thank you for coming, thank you for attending, thank you for listening to me and giving me the time and taking this very seriously, because I am also very serious about this. I know it's a tough topic. It's not a fun, easygoing topic to talk about, but we try to keep it as light as possible so that everyone's able to understand it and not feel threatened by it. It's not something that we want to scare you about. We just want to spread awareness and make sure people understand what is wrong and what is right in today's culture, in the landscape that we live in today. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.